Leave. Just go.
A young girl named Eve lives quietly with her father, Javier. She loves ballet, something he has always supported and encouraged. On her birthday, he gifts her a delicate ballerina music box, a small but meaningful symbol of their bond. One peaceful evening at home suddenly turns into chaos when a group of mercenaries storms in. Javier seems to have expected this moment. Instantly, he shifts into a completely different man, moving with deadly precision as he takes down attacker after attacker. It becomes clear that he is far from ordinary. Realizing the danger, he quickly hides Eve inside a secret room. But the enemies keep coming, and eventually, Javier is overwhelmed. Then their leader arrives, a man known as the Chancellor, who has come specifically for Eve. As she hides in fear, it's revealed that the Chancellor leads an ancient secret sect that has existed for over 1,000 years. Javier was once a member of this organization but betrayed them. Now, the Chancellor intends to take Eve and mold her into part of their next generation, alongside other children from around the world. He offers Javier a cruel choicia pistol with a single bullet, a chance at redemption. But when Eve calls out to her father, the distraction gives Javier an opening. He fights back fiercely, taking down several more men before the Chancellor disappears into the night. During the chaos, Eve notices a distinct detail. One of the soldiers bears a scar shaped like an X in a final act of desperation. Javier triggers an explosive device and carries Eve outside. Even after being shot, he refuses to stop until she is safe. Moments later, the house explodes in flames behind them. With his dying breath, Javier tells Eve to take care of herself, leaving her completely alone. Eve reports everything to the police. But soon after, a mysterious man named Winston appears. He is the manager of the Continental Hotel. Instead of leaving her to fate, he takes her to a place called Ruscaroma, a hidden organization that trains assassins. There, she is placed under the care of a woman known only as the Director, who begins shaping her into something far more dangerous. 12 years pass, and Eve is no longer the fragile child she once was. She has become a disciplined ballerina and a highly trained fighter under the Director's watchful eye. At Ruscaroma, every recruit is taught both the elegance of ballet and the precision of killing. Ballet is not just art, it's a method of control, balance, and focus in a violent world. After her dance training, Eve immediately transitions into combat practice. She trains in hand-to-hand combat, firearms, and tactical defense alongside other recruits. Unlike veteran assassins, she and her peers are trained mainly for protection assignments, learning how to defend high-value clients. Years of intense discipline and hardship turn her into one of the best. By the end of her training, she stands at the top of her class, both respected and feared. For her final test, she is assigned a target, one of her own seniors who has betrayed the organization. Without hesitation, Eve completes the mission. In that moment, her transformation into a true assassin is complete. Later, as she reflects on her past, memories of her father resurface. Around this time, the legendary assassin John Wick arrives at Ruscaroma, seeking temporary protection while being hunted. Eve finally sees him in person, a man she has heard about her entire life through whispered stories among the recruits. To her, he is more than just a legend. Despite the path he once suggested she avoid, Eve chooses to stay in this world. She accepts her first official mission, protecting a wealthy Asian heiress from a rival group. Confident and composed, she steps into action. When the client is ambushed, Eve reacts instantly, taking down the attackers with precise and calculated moves. After successfully completing the mission, she receives her official Ruscaroma tattoo, a permanent mark of her membership and identity. From that point on, her assignments grow darker, slowly erasing the last traces of her former self and turning her into a ruthless professional who no longer questions right or wrong. One night, while returning home, Eve is suddenly ambushed by another assassin sent to kill her. The fight is quick and brutal, ending with Eve victorious. As she examines the body, she notices something chilling. A scar shaped like an X on the man's arm, identical to the mark she saw the night her father was killed. Determined to uncover the truth, Eve confronts the director. That's when she learns the truth. The director has always known about the ancient sect, but chose to stay silent to avoid starting a war. She warns Eve to let the past remain buried. But Eve refuses to walk away. Feeling betrayed, she turns to Winston for help. Unlike the director, he listens calmly. Eve offers him a gold coin, the currency of their world, in exchange for information. Winston agrees, but warns her that the group she is chasing is no ordinary organization. It is a brutal, ancient brotherhood that once maintained a fragile truce with powerful entities like the High Table, Ruska Roma, and the Continental. Breaking that peace could ignite a devastating war. Still, Eve remains determined. Winston contacts the High Table's network and traces a member of the sect, a man named Pine, currently staying at the Continental in Prague. Without wasting time, Eve heads there that same night. The Prague Continental is filled with dangerous individuals, all bound by strict rules. Among them is another assassin named Lena, who is also targeting Pine. She isn't alone. Her team watches from across the street, waiting for the perfect moment. Eve checks into a room next to Pine's and carefully moves along a narrow ledge outside the window to enter his suite unnoticed. Inside, she is surprised to find a young girl named Ella. Moments later, Pine appears with a gun. The girl is his daughter, and he has been hiding her while trying to escape the same sect that once controlled him. The situation mirrors Eve's own past. Hearing his story shakes her. She came to kill him, but now she hesitates. Meanwhile, Lena learns that Eve is inside the room. Misinterpreting her hesitation as betrayal, Lena increases the bounty on Pine, turning every assassin nearby into a threat. Suddenly, chaos erupts. A violent shootout breaks out as bullets tear through the room. Eve makes her choice. She sides with Pine. Together, they fight off the attackers, trying to buy enough time for him and his daughter to escape. Inside an elevator descending toward the ground floor, Pine begs Eve to protect Ella, promising to reveal everything he knows about the sect. But before they can make it out, everything falls apart. Another assassin appears and shoots Pine. Eve is struck from behind and knocked unconscious, while Ella is captured and taken to the Chancellor. The chaos draws the attention of the Continental's management, setting the stage for even greater conflict ahead. The strict rules of the High Table come into play. Violence inside the hotel is absolutely forbidden, so Eve and the two assassins are brought before the council for judgment. Since Eve didn't actually kill anyone within the premises, she is spared, while the others are executed immediately. After everything settles, Eve doesn't take a moment to rest. Instead, she heads straight to a familiar weapons shop, one often visited by John Wick himself. Using her gold coin, she begins choosing specialized weapons for her next mission. But before she can finish, the door suddenly bursts open. Mercenaries from the sect have tracked her down. With no way out, Eve spots a crate of explosives behind the counter. If escape isn't possible, she decides she'd take everyone down with her. Seconds later, a massive explosion tears through the building. When the smoke clears, the furious shop owner realizes Eve isn't his enemy. Instead of retaliating, he tells her where to find the Chancellor's main headquarters heart of the ancient sect. To help her get there, he gives her weapons and a car for free. Eve sets off alone, driving across a vast frozen wilderness. The director contacts her, urging her to stop before she sparks a war. But Eve refuses to back down. Like John Wick, she is stubborn and determined to see things through. Eventually, she arrives at a small restaurant in a snow-covered village. Trying to blend in, she orders a coffee, pretending to be just another traveler. But the people there already know who she is. Moments later, a man walks in and opens fire. The cafe erupts into chaos as Eve engages in a brutal fight with a skilled assassin. He's fast, but not fast enough. She breaks his arm, turns the fight around and kills him without hesitation. Before she can recover, a woman from the kitchen, also part of the sect, attacks her. Their fight becomes intense and personal, smashing through dishes and glass. But more enemies keep coming. Outnumbered and with nowhere left to hide, Eve is forced to run. From a watchtower, the Chancellor's men spot her, and soon the village alarm bell rings. Civilians rush inside, leaving the streets empty. The hunt has officially begun, and Eve is the target. This isn't an ordinary village. Almost every adult is a loyal member of the sect, ready to die for their leader. Despite fighting with everything she has, the odds are too overwhelming. Eventually, she is captured by Lena and the others. At the same time, Ella is revealed to be at the Chancellor's private estate. When Lena reports Eve's capture, the Chancellor is pleased. Eve wakes up, tied to a chair, face-to-face with the man responsible for destroying her family. He taunts her, impressed that she came alone. Furious, Eve accuses him of killing her father 12 years ago. At first, he's silent. Then he recognizes her, Javier's daughter, the child of a traitor. Then comes a shocking truth. Lena is Eve's sister, taken from their father years ago and raised by the Chancellor. The revelation stuns both of them. But before they can process it, gunfire erupts. Eve manages to break free, kills her guards, and escapes. Ignoring orders, Lena chases after her into the snow. Inside a nearby house, the two finally confront each other, not just as enemies, but as sisters. Lena explains how their father's betrayal destroyed their family, and how his attempt to give them a normal life ended in tragedy. Just as they begin to connect, the sect's soldiers find them. Furious, the Chancellor orders them to finish it. A grenade is thrown into the house, and the explosion destroys everything. When the dust settles, Lena is dead before she can say anything more. Now completely alone, Eve is consumed by rage. She picks up a katana nearby and charges into battle, cutting down enemies one after another with unstoppable fury. Realizing how dangerous she has become, the Chancellor contacts the director, demanding accountability. Not wanting a full-scale war, the director promises to handle it herself and sends someone unexpected, John Wick. The moment the Chancellor hears that name, he orders his men to stand down. No one is to interfere. The Baba Yaga is coming. Amid the ruins of a shattered building, Eve and John Wick meet again. He gives her one last chance to walk away and leave this life behind. But after 12 years of pain, Eve refuses. They fight fiercely, with John's experience clearly giving him the upper hand. Still, something about Eve stops him. Her determination reminds him of himself. Instead of killing her, he makes a deal. She can finish her revenge. But if she fails before midnight, he will end it himself. With that, Eve begins her final assault. She moves through the compound, eliminating guards with brutal precision. Inside a weapons facility, she finds a flamethrower and uses it to wipe out groups of enemies in seconds. Soon, she faces the Chancellor's top enforcer, also armed with a flamethrower. The two unleash waves of fire in a devastating duel that lights up the tunnels like hell. In the end, Eve barely escapes by diving through a shattered window. She continues hunting down the remaining soldiers, burning through them until only smoke and destruction remain. Realizing his forces are nearly gone, the Chancellor tries to flee, taking Ella with him. But Eve's flamethrower runs out of fuel. When the Chancellor's lieutenant attacks, she improvises, grabbing a nearby water hose. Fire and water clash in a desperate struggle, but the flames overpower her. She's thrown back, defenseless as the lieutenant moves in for the kill. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out. The lieutenant's weapon explodes in his hands. John Wick has stepped in, silently helping her. With that shot, he joins the fight fully, moving like a force of nature and taking down the remaining enemies one by one. Meanwhile, Eve pushes forward and catches up to the Chancellor just as his car is about to leave. She shoots the driver, forcing him out. He tries to talk his way out, but Eve isn't listening. The clock hasn't struck midnight yet, and she remembers the deal. With cold precision, she kills him and eliminates the last of his men. John Wick, having cleared the battlefield, chooses not to complete his contract. Instead, he lets Eve and Ella go free. When he reports back, he simply tells the director that Eve has already killed the Chancellor and his followers. She says nothing. 2 days later, things seemed calm for a moment. Eve reunites Ella with her father, Pine, who somehow survived with only minor injuries. Later, sitting quietly in a theater, Eve watches a ballet performance. But peace doesn't last. Somewhere in the shadows, a new contract is issued $6 million for Eve's head. The hunter has now become the hunted. And the story leaves one clear message: never underestimate a ballerina, who can move with grace and destroy with precision. And that's a wrap on today's recap. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a plot twist. Got a movie you want recapped? Drop it in the comments below. This is DX Recap. See you in the next one.